My name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to the July channel update. This one was still like more of a mixed bag, but a little bit more on the good side, namely because I've made friends. So we'll go over the real life stuff first, and then we'll talk about the reading booktube stuff. So real life wise, I continue to be in a summer haze, unstructured time. As much as I tell myself I want it, I don't end up doing that much more than I would do during the school year when I work. So apparently my brain just only does so many things on my own, regardless of whether or not I have to work that day. But it has been fun. I have been working on some of my goals, not all of them. But medical-wise, the meds are kicking up again. It's so much fun. I didn't work out a lot this month. My poor bullet journal spread has so many empty spaces for the exercise portion because of how many days I skipped because my meds were giving me grief. But I actually found a new workout group to join with the pro wrestling promotion that I work with, that I volunteer for. They're doing a weekly working out meetup. So now I get to like use a rowing machine and weights and all of that kind of stuff to add to my workout regime. I really want better arm muscles. So more of the same, probably going to continue to be more of the same. Some other personal stuff that kind of threw me for a loop going into this that I'm not going to get into because I don't think anything is going to come of it. I got a lot of fun writing and editing the short story. I got paid for it and everything, and I realized it's the first time that I've ever been paid for fiction. I've been paid for like those cheesy little listicles to be posted anonymously on like a dentist's site or whatever. I've done that for a while. But this was the first time where it was like, this is a story I came up with, a piece of fiction I wrote, and they liked it so much they were willing to pay me money for it. And I'm like, poof. And then like it hasn't quite like gone through to my brain that come October, hopefully, is when the anthology is going to come out. I will be like a published indie author, and that's mind-boggling to me, and is setting the groundwork for me building up my confidence to continue down this track. I haven't yet decided if I'm going to continue to promote short story work to other presses and get, you know, those submissions in for more short story work, or if I'm gonna, you know, pull the trigger and actually go through the full novel. I actually did post a DV Pit tweet, and I keep wanting to check it as I record this, but I don't necessarily think anything is going to come of it. It hasn't come of it before. Editing Margaret here, like 6 hours later, and something could come of this. Because as it sits right now, I've had 11 agents show interest in this story, and like 100 comments talking about how much people want to read this, and retweets and follows, and I'm a little bit losing my mind. And like, obviously this could all lead to nothing, right? Like all of the queries could be rejected and everything, and all of the follows could end up not being interested in my writing career at all. But it's like, this could be something. And I'm a little bit like freaking out, but like in the good way. Is this the year that my hybrid author dream suddenly become a reality? That was not one of my goals for this year. 2022 was supposed to be my year of rest. This is curveball. But stay tuned for the next couple months, I guess. But it's a lot of things going on in the personal / professional life that won't really calm down by the time the school year starts again. So, you know, I have that going for me, but in general, it's doing pretty well. And let's move on to the reading and the friends. So I had fully intended on taking a break from all readathons, basically up through December. Maybe if there was like a short spooky one in October I was interested in, I would try it up. But for the most part, I was like, I just did whatever-a-thon. I didn't even complete it. We're just going to move on. But then a week into the month, I discovered the Indie Accords. It was a completely random thing. An indie author I follow had retweeted one of their tweets because they were reading one of his books. And I was like, There's a readathon all about indie books. Now, this isn't the very first one I've heard of. You might remember if you've been around my channel for a hot minute in December, which isn't so much a readathon as BookTube knows it so much as it is a review-a-thon. You can review books that you read at other points in the year and it still counts as long as it's an indie book. But this one was like a traditional, there are teams and team hosts and a bingo board and points in like a very standard BookTube readathon, or at least a modern BookTube readathon. But it was all about indie books. And I was like, well, I can't not. I'm not gonna not do this. So I was like, well, we're switching gears, and I jumped right in and I joined the Discord, and I ended up subscribing to a bunch of people, and I have a bunch of new mutuals on there, and it's great because it was just so nice to be in a place where I recognized so many of the books that everyone was reading, because for the most part, in a readathon, whenever they talk about, you know, oh, do a poll to let your audience pick your books, or people asking for recs and stuff, I've just kind of gotten used to, I'm not going to recognize the majority of the books here. They're probably not going to take my recommendations unless there is specifically a, you need to read an indie book prompt in the readathon. And so I just kind of got used to it, that readathons were kind of just where I felt like the most kind of hipster. But here at the Indie Accords, it was like, I know that book, and I know that book, and oh, that book is really good, and I know that book. Like, it was so nice to be like, I know these books. I've heard of these books. I know these authors. I was really excited. Like, even the tweet that the original indie author shared was like, these are the top 3 books read in the readathon this week so far, and 2 of the 3 of them were books I'd already read, and by the end of the readathon, I'd read the 3rd one. And it was just great to be like, I can talk about books with other people. It's really nice. And thankfully, the Discord server will be staying open for talking about indie books and stuff after the readathon. So I'm really excited. I've already gotten a rec for outside the readathon that I'm really interested in. I got a review book from it for another audiobook. Like, it was really nice. And as a result, this month, the reading felt really like energetic. Even though I actually didn't read that many more books in number, I only read like 11. The thing is that 3 of those books were over 600 pages. I think once I added it all up, I had gotten close to 4,500 pages in total, which is pretty good for me considering the fact that I only ever aim for 3,000 a month, 100 pages a day. And I was really excited to have gotten those giant books read because all of them were review books. I'm always doing that to myself. Let's take in these giant review books. That'll be fine. But I'm really excited for that. I'm really happy to have found other BookTube channels that are reading so many of the same kinds of books as me. Now, I don't know to what extent they read indie outside of the readathon, so I can't really say whether or not it will continue at this level, but just knowing that, like, well, they're all interested enough to do an indie-only readathon, just is very happy making. I'm very happy with that. And in general, I like that I have found like my BookTube niche after it'll be 4 years in October that I've been on BookTube. And this is the first time where I was like, I found the other people that read what I do. For 4 years. Great. In other news, very positive news, I am so close to my goal for my Lower the TBR challenge. The goal I had set for myself when I first was like, I gotta get this TBR under control. I wanted to get the TBR under 200 books, and I believe my to read pile currently sits at like 205, 206. So I could very well get that done and dusted by the end of August, and I'm really excited. I'm not going to set a new goal past that. It'll more likely just be I will continue with the challenge. The challenge will continue as is, and we'll just see how far down I can get it. I don't intend on being like, oh, well, now we're going to do 150 or whatever. Mostly because I've gotten to the point where I really don't have many more books left to unhaul at all. I've gone through that ebook library backlog so many times, and it's gotten to the point where it's like I'm almost going to start unhauling just to unhaul books that I might actually like. So probably should get to more reading then, shouldn't I? As for the Pop Sugar Challenge, I'm getting to the hard part of it, which is I've basically used up all of the prompts that are generic enough that I can just read what I would normally read and like find what fits. And now it's like, read a book that won this specific award, like that kind of thing, or has this specific thing in the title. So now I have like all of the very hyper specific things left to do for the challenge. So it's kind of this, okay, how seriously am I taking this? Am I going to like double down and really get this done, or am I just gonna see how close to finishing it I can get? Because I've never won Pop Sugar. I've never completed a Pop Sugar challenge in the 6 or 7 times I've tried it, I think. So who knows? I'm not going to be really bummed if I don't get it, because the TBR challenge was a challenge that I was more invested in anyway, and that's one has really dropped down. Literally, I started with 460 books. I have cut my own TBR in half. I am super proud of myself for that. But regardless, I really enjoyed the books I was reading. I'm very sad to note that my tastes are tending towards more and more long books. Not happy about that. I'm going to have to read so much more. And of course, moving forward, this month we go back to school at the very tail end of the month, last days of summer and all of that. I'm not actually that bummed about it, mostly because I have been in this kind of weird haze, and having more structure to my day is a lot better for my brain, and it will help me feel like I'm moving forward in life just a little bit more. And it's hard to explain how I feel in this summer, where it feels like I'm just spinning my wheels doing nothing, even when I very much am moving forward. Like, again, I became a published author over this summer. But I'm excited to go back and see all the kids and my coworkers and all of that. Hopefully my reading will not drop too much. I am glad I got a lot of those 600-page books off of my review list. My review list is actually looking really good right now. I have 10 on it currently, and I have one more to get off of it once I get the review filmed. So I might actually have under 10 books on that review list for the first time in like 4 months. So generally speaking, there are still aspects of life that could be better for me. But again, like I mentioned before, the medical stuff is a marathon. So comparatively, this one has had more good than bad. It's definitely still a mixed bag, but leaning definitely towards the good side. I just hope it carries through this month. Thank you so much for listening to my rambling, and with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.